was instrumental in getting it passed. Ms. Stanford, a survivor of human trafficking who knows firsthand the perils of living in this situation, is dedicated to the justice issues that serve as the underlying cause of modern-day slavery, exploitation of women, men, and children. In her vision to alleviate traumatic occurrences of rape, physical abuse, and sexual molestation that the victims of human trafficking face, Mrs. Stafford founded the nonprofit organization It Is Going to Be Okay in 2014. And whereas It's Going to Be Okay it works towards the eradication of trafficking in persons by educating the general public about the causes of this epidemic and by partnering with other nonprofit organizations, law enforcement, and government agencies to provide victims who are now survivors with recovery programs, housing, jobs, training, and hard work and dedication in the battle against human trafficking. And I so move.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Good morning. It is my goal and my purpose to provide educational awareness and advocacy on human trafficking, a subject I unfortunately had to experience as a young lady. Being reared in Dallas, I came up in South Dallas. And the way I provide the educational awareness is through the voices I have encountered along my journey that assisted in sustaining me and eventually allowing me to become a survivor of human trafficking. Those voices were the people who encouraged me and breathed positive affirmations into my life prior and during my captivity. We all know the story of how the caged bird sing by Mount Angelou. Well, I was the caged bird until about 20 years ago, hoping and praying someone was looking for me, and that day someone would find me so that I could fly away from the cage that the sick and predatory individuals had placed me in. Nonetheless, before I give you some brief history, you all know that human trafficking is a form of modern day slavery. It is the highest it's higher than the drug trade. So I work to do the education and awareness and prevention on that. I'm gonna rewind back to a little bit. Sold at the age of 13, isolated and alone from my grandmother, Carrie Elizabeth Carroll. She was the foundation for me, who was deceased, but represented power and strength, which I related to the power of my mind for those first 8 years that helped sustain me as I was molested, raped, and physically and emotionally abused. But then came the other voices of those like Mr. Wilbur Williams, Percy Anderson. But always tell me how beautiful and smart I was. And my 6th grade teacher, Miss Cheryl Taylor, saying how smart and beautiful I was. My 7th grade teacher, Mr. McCallum, at Fred Influence, also saying how smart and beautiful I was. 8th grade, Miss Caldwell, and Fred Influence, I'm sure you know them, saying how smart and beautiful I was. Home economics, Miss Murchison, will never forget her. She told me I was going to be a great cook one day, and I am. Miss English, my teacher at Lincoln High School, and Dr. Napoleon, who was a pioneer in DISD at Lincoln, always told me how beautiful and smart I was and that I would make it even though I had babies. Not by choice. And yet, hearing all those voices, I endured the isolation and abuse. I didn't know that what they spoke into me would be the key factors to my survival, especially when someone repeatedly telling you that they could kill you and get away with it, and no one cares, not even your mother, the one who sold me. But the final voice of my neighbor, Elnita Hamilton, who loved me enough and gave me the courage to step out of the bondage of human trafficking. And that fateful day, that he almost killed me, begging for my life, not for me, but for my children, that he wouldn't kill me in front of my kids. Who begs for their life, beg to come back so that you can kill them, but not in front of my children. Was the day that I survived. He choked me unconscious. And when I came to, she told me not today. That day I wouldn't die. Also through her love, me about the power of forgiveness as well. See, the power of forgiveness will not have you hoping anymore that he accidentally walked in front of the car and you accidentally run him over. The power of forgiveness gets you in places and doors only God opens and closes. Thanking God for allowing me to be the voice in face of human trafficking and domestic violence. To whom much is given, much is required. It's going to be okay is dedicated. The foundation that I founded, human trafficking through our educational awareness, advocacy with the passing of HB 2290, and the expansion of future services like safe houses, counseling, job placement, and higher learning. With that, I am asking the city for all its help and assistance in helping us to eradicate human trafficking, i.e. donating buildings, funds, anything that you can support us with, we will surely take it. Thank you. It is a collective effort for all organizations, faith-based organizations, police force, to raise awareness and share light. And I am the surviving face of human trafficking. Thank you for bringing this to the forefront, Ms. Garcia. Thank you so much. Thank you, John Watercrest. Thank you. Thank you, Judge Jenkins. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mike Contrell. Thank you, Dr. Teresa McDaniel. Thank you so much. And I just want to say I appreciate everything that the city is doing on behalf of human trafficking. And it is taking a collective effort. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. I have my board members here. Thank you so much.
And also, I think Representative is here. Representative, would you like to say something? And of course,
Well, just very, very proud of Tonya. Thank you, Dr. Garcia, and Judge, appreciate the opportunity to be here before you all. And from a state perspective, we obviously worked very hard this last session to address this modern form of slavery and to make certain that we eradicate it from Texas. I'm very proud of my colleagues and what we were able to accomplish, and it's because of Tonya's great courage and vision and bravery that we are having the ability to put a face to this horrible crime and find a way to end it. And so I'm just so proud of you, and thank you for all you're doing and raising awareness. And I just pray the best for your continued efforts, and certainly from a state perspective, just like Dallas County's perspective, we'll continue everything we can to make certain the future is bright. So thank you for all you do. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Do you want to introduce Ms. Stafford, the rest of your board?
Mr. Caesar Ritchie, my help, my support, my friend.
Well, I'm Cesar Renzi. I serve as Vice President for Pastoral Services for Methodist Health System. I had the opportunity to meet Tonya at an event that we had at our hospital, and she educated me about human trafficking. I had no idea. I'm sure as many of us had the extent of what it was, and so she did a good job of educating me on that. Asked me to get involved, and so I got involved by being part of the board and helping give direction to eradicating this in our society. I think it's important for all of us. It doesn't just stop with law enforcement, and it takes all of us to eradicate it. It takes government, it takes every part of government, it takes churches, it takes people to be involved so that one day when someone is vulnerable, there will be somebody there to speak up. And I couldn't say no. As a pastor, I had to respond, and as a father, I had to respond.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tonya.
Thank you, Pastor. And of course, with the Sheriff's Department.
The Sheriff's Department, they're one of my big supporters as well. Thank you, John White. I appreciate y'all. And,
the children on the men.
yes, Children on the Men, one of my other big supporters and help throughout this journey.
Well, let me say, I heard Dr. Garcia's second resolution, but Dallas County has been targeting this for years through our juvenile department. And she talked about Harris County and Dallas County being number 2. Well, let me just tell you, in the region, we're number 1. We're number 1.
Yeah.
And the Dallas-Fort Worth region is larger than Harris County. And we've been targeting that through our Lee Top district for years. And so, while I definitely embrace and for you to continue to do. I also invite you to become part of our juvenile. Our young ladies, they've gone as far at Lee Top. When these young ladies are rescued, we now deal with what we call the closet, because most of the time they only have what's on their back, and of course you can testify to that. A lot of times they show up in court, but only what's on their back. And so what we've done now is continue to try to do that, plus engage and wrap services around the family. Because what we find out is that's not just an individual. It's family. And so I just want you to know, and if you don't know, and of course I'm sure with Ms. Kennard you do, but we're doing something in Dallas County. We're targeting that whole piece. That's one of the things that they watch out around the so-called truck stops.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
I
yes. So we just want to say thank you. Thank you for